This is a CBC podcast.
Well, as the great Misha Bruegger-Gosman was saying when she was here yesterday on the show, music is more than just entertainment, right? This is healing, this is history, and it's a celebration of who we are. Our music columnist Peter Rowan is here to highlight a band that exemplifies this. Sluice is Acadian alternative pop or power pop, and they speak to these touchstones and memories that relate really well to French culture here in New Brunswick, even though these guys are from Nova Scotia. Some people have called them music as micro-history, and Peter is here to tell us about them. Hi, Peter.
Hey, Julia.
So who is the Sluice of which we speak?
So I was going to start off by calling Sluice the brainchild of Trevor Murphy. But after talking to Trevor, the reality is that it's really a passion project, and it's kind of his love child. Many of us know Trevor through his work in the East Coast alternative scene. He's been a huge advocate for Little You, Little Me and lots of bands from St. John. Based in Halifax, he's one of the best publicists in Canada. He's a top-notch musician with a variety of alternative bands like Quiet Parade, tireless advocate for music and culture in our region, and it turns out a very proud Canadian who grew up outside of Yarmouth in one of the oldest Acadian communities in Nova Scotia. And you'll love this, Julia. The band name actually references, it's a small par-en-basse farming community called Sluice Point. And it also references the amazing irrigation technology the Acadian farmers developed. So I would say this is our best band name creation story yet.
It is, because most of the time when you ask about the band names, they're like, oh, we just thought of it and it sounded cool, you know. So this is actually, it means something, and it's a touchstone, like we said in the intro.
Absolutely, yeah, totally.
I love the title of this track that you chose this morning.
Yeah, it's very appropriate. Eh?
Yeah, it's like a limitless summer. So tell us about that.
Well, so the track we're playing, it's called Un été sans frontières, which Trevor told me was like a summer without borders, which is really appropriate, hopefully, for us this year. And it's from a full-length album that they released in April called Le Succès par le Travail, which was the motto of Trevor's old high school and also his parents' old high school. And then they released that in April. And there's a lot going on here. Basically, it's a straight-ahead all-pop power pop record. The bio references bands like Weezer and Death Cab for Cutie, but it's sung in this very distinct regional Acadian dialect. And, you know, all while featuring songs about the high school, the region, and the experiences growing up. So if you like really good alt-rock, you're going to love this record. If you dig a bit deeper, it's littered with cultural and regional Easter eggs, and you're just going to love the whole project.
Man, this sounds like the music that I would make if I had become a musician rather than a radio person.
It's a remarkable record. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about Trevor. He's such a really great community-minded person, talented musician, and I just love this project. I mean, my French, as you can tell in my pronunciations here, is appalling. But I just love the spirit of this. I love like the micro history and the ability to sort of, you know, to meld the old and new, like these, you know, Acadian musical traditions, and yet they're synthesized through, you know, modern pop music. It's really remarkable.
Well, in fairness to you, Peter, you can't speak English correctly half the time either, so. Oh, dear.
Well, you're burning me.
So bad. Every time.
Every time.
So what if we wanted to see Sluice live? Are they playing or doing anything like that?
Yeah, there's actually some exciting news about that. They're playing their very first live show this Saturday at the Capitol Theatre.
Like first ever, Peter?
First ever live performance. So they're a little, they've been practicing. They're playing in Moncton as part of the Acadie Rock Festival that's been going on since last week. What a way to start your live performances. And then their hometown debut in Halifax will be in October as part of Franco Fest. They're going to be opening for LaHaye Babies at the Brown Derby, formerly the Marquee, which was formerly the Brown Derby. Yeah,
that's very New Brunswick.
It's so New Brunswick. And, you know, all of these, it really reflects this amazing diversity of the Acadian music scene. I mean, all the shows that are happening, the festivals and the support for it. And there's, you know, and the tradition is, you know, part of all of the acts. But bands like LaHaye Babies, Sputnik, Jono, Les Hôtesses, Chloe Bro, and Sluice are just making this amazing modern music with a very wide appeal, but it has this really, these really unique cultural parameters. Like as I said, if you dig into it, it's just fascinating, really.
And it's fun, like I had this on yesterday when I was kind of reading over your script, and it's a great song, and it's a jam, you could dance to it. So
absolutely. And the whole album is like that. It's a joyous album. It's a joyous album reflecting on, growing up and, very constant themes in lots of rock and roll, cars and breaking into the old high school after they're closed.
As you do.
As you do. I mean, didn't you? Just sort of very, very central themes that are, universal, but reflected in this very distinct, in this very distinct manner.
Cool. So we're going to play the track in a sec, but before we let you go, Peter, anything else that you're working on, thinking about, mad about?
Well, you never ask me that question, and normally that's for a good reason. We could use a venue. I mean, I know this is going to be my soapbox for a while. We're in desperate need of a venue in St. John. We punch above our weight on so many different levels, and we don't have a place to play. Thank heavens for the Cap and the Tipsy Muse in Fredericton, who have, been bringing up St. John artists all the time. And I also got to give a shout out to the Five and Dime in St. John, who are doing shows. It's a small space. You can only do certain kinds of shows there. But thanks to them for at least, starting, because it's really critical. We were talking about, the huge investment that's going into the container, the container village, mm-hmm. which is very cool. I'm happy for it. And it's a great opportunity for a lot of local artists to get some really great opening slots and shows. However, all of the artists that are opening shows, this last, over this year.
At 506, you're talking about.
At 506, yeah. They are all a product of the ecosystem of the last 5 years in St. John, which was vibrant with tons of places to play. And if we don't have places for local artists to perform, we're not going to be able to fill that void. And so I'm a little concerned about that. I'm hoping that somebody is going to sort of, see this opportunity, because I think there is a real opportunity here. And hopefully, sometime in the next few months, I'll be able to talk about an amazing new space that's opened up in St. John. I continue to be hopeful.
Fingers crossed for that. And, hey, maybe it's your thing, Peter. You're not busy enough, right?
No, that day is long gone.
Did you also want to give a shout out to the Rock Camp girls?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about just a huge shout out to this accomplishment. The St. John Rock Camp for Girls and Gender Creative Kids that are launching their very first series coming
camp.
up.
It's a camp.
It's a camp, right? And it's sold out. The response was incredible. They've done, and they did one in Fredericton. There's one in Moncton, and this is a really important. Camp. It's really great that we're, opening up these spaces. And shout out, of course, to the Imperial, where they're going to be, the kids are going to be able to do their finale concert on, I think it's August 28th, which is pretty exciting.
All right, Peter. Thanks as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Julia.
That's Peter Rowan, our music columnist here on Information Morning. Now here's the track for your summer without borders, hopefully coming up. This is Sluice with Unité Sans Frontières.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.